I didn't know much about this narcissist thing. There's wisdom and there's experience. Wisdom is what you learn by seeing whatever people go through. Experience you learn by what you have to go through, and sometimes you have to get experience. I am a prophetic minister, and I have found out two of the biggest things that, I don't know if that's the right word, but hear me out. Two of the biggest things that a prophet or prophetic minister will have to overcome is Jezebel and rejection. Jezebel and rejection. You will have to deal with rejection and overcome it, and you will have to resist, fight, overcome the Jezebel spirit if you're in the prophetic ministry. I've been dealing with that all of my life. I've learned a lot about the Jezebel spirit. And I don't want to get into that right now because we got teachings on freedom from the Jezebel influence. But I never, Gary, I never knew about this narcissist thing until 13, 14 years ago now. A lady came to our church, another location, and she brought her son. He was in his 20s at that time. He was with us for about 13 years. We tried to help him, and it took a long time to help them because we were going by what they said they wanted to do. Him and his girlfriend then became a fiancé. And we didn't know if they had mental problems, physical problems, emotional problems, spiritual problems, or all of the above. It turned out, after about 12 years, I started to realize I was noticing some symptoms. It wasn't physical, it wasn't mental. We knew they needed deliverance, but we noticed some other traits. And what helped me with this is Facebook. My Facebook friends were putting posts on there, little sayings they had, or telling me experiences they had, or things they went through with somebody they were calling a narcissist. Well, I started to realize that those were the symptoms that this person had that we were dealing with. What kind of symptoms? Manipulation, control. But the first symptom that we started to notice, because in the beginning they would do something that every time we had a chance to go forward with the ministry, they would sabotage it. They would do something to rob our blessing. They would die. They were dying. They were always dying. I'm dying. So we didn't know, were they really dying? Were they really having a stroke? Were they really having a heart attack? Were they really short of breath? So we sent them to doctors in emergency room, and that wasn't the case. Then we're thinking, before we pray deliverance for them, do they have a mental problem? So we sent them to psychiatrists. The psychiatrist told the person that they can't help them as much as me and the church has been. So then we started to send them for deliverance. Any time, listen, be very careful. When God puts a man or woman of a God in your life to help you get free from whatever, the enemy is going to do everything you can to turn you against that person and cause you to run. And then use you to hurt the people that's trying to help you. And that's what was happening. But besides the mental thing and the physical thing and deliverance, I noticed something that I could not understand. They seemed like they didn't have any compassion. They didn't feel sorry for hurting people. It didn't bother them. Do you have a soul? Are you really saved? Christians don't do these kind of things. And I would say to them, how can you keep hurting people that love you and they're trying to help you, and you keep hurting them and it doesn't bother you? I don't understand that. Besides us and their family, one of the persons they were hurting was their fiance. They wanted me to take them through pre-marriage counseling. They wanted me to perform the wedding. At least 5 times we got close to maybe getting ready to have a wedding, and every time it was time to get that close, they would sabotage their own wedding because they had to be the center of attention. I mean, how can you love this girl who loves you, supports you, believes in you, and you keep hurting her, and it don't bother you? And I started to realize 12 years into this person was a narcissist. So I started doing a study on it. I went on YouTube. I went online. And I listened to doctors, psychiatrists, different kind of doctors, learn about it. And I found out a lot about it. This type of person doesn't have empathy. They have to have their way, and they don't care who they hurt to get it. And they do have a spirit of sabotage that goes along with it. But what happened was they had this nice, sweet girl who was their fiancée, who was very sweet. She loved us. She was a help to the church, but she was a puppet on a string to this narcissist. He actually said this to me. She does what I tell her. She loved it. There was a transfer of spirit that came from him to her. Watch out who you go to bed with. Watch out who you kiss. Watch out for who you think you call your soul tie. Watch out for who's in your ears all the time. And she had a transfer of spirits on her because we noticed some problems that she had. Watch my video called The Narcissist and the Enabler. Don't be an enabler. Is Ellie still here? Don't be fooled, Ellie. Don't be fooled. Listen to, don't go to bed till you hear me out. You're not driving home, so you watch on Zoom. You need to hear this. So we did another video called I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel called The Narcissist and Something. Watch them all. But before we go any further, let me say this. If you know anybody in a toxic relationship with a narcissistic type person, love them enough to warn them. They might not like you no more. They might not talk to you anymore. They might be mad at you. They might influence, but the blood's off your hands. Warn them. And if they're a young person and you know their parents, warn their parents, because they will destroy the family. We noticed something about her that we had trouble dealing with. And it was a transfer of spirits, and I didn't know this thing could be a spirit, but it can carry into it, I guess. We started to notice the symptoms that she developed being so close to this person. And here's what it is called. Passive aggression. Passive aggression. They both had this. And I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm not a doctor, just a preacher here. But here's the symptoms of it. You tell me if you recognize this. Procrastination. I would say to them all the time, you are the biggest procrastinators I've ever met. Here's another one. Missing deadlines. They never finished a deadline. They never started a project and finished it on time. This is her. And him, but her. This was her. She developed, hanging around this narcissist, passive aggression, procrastination, missing deadlines, withholding critical information, both of them. They were always nosy, they had a no thing, and they want you to feel like they knew something you didn't know. Very passive. 13 years marriage counseling. Like they got all the time in the world. If you know anybody that's involved in a relationship with somebody like this, warn them. This is called the narcissist and gaslighting. We threw that other progressive thing in there. Passive, I meant passive aggressive. So, got all the time in the world. It'll get done. We'll get around to it. The biggest procrastinators. Procrastination is a tool of the devil. The devil doesn't care what you're going to do for God, as long as you don't do it now. That young, sweet, young lady became very badly influenced by that control freak. Gaslighting. Narcissists have this. They take your conversation, they give you, manipulate it around, hold back important information until they feel like giving it. They make you feel like there's something wrong with you that you can't understand. We kept trying to get this guy to get a job. He never got a job, 13 years. Oh, he had a lot of jobs, but he never went because he was dying or sick or whatever. Why should he? She was paying for everything. But I would say to him, why do I have to ask you, you all heard me say this so many times, why do I have to ask you 10 questions to get an answer? Got to control and manipulate the conversation like I know more than you. So I sent him out to apply for several jobs. And I would say to him, you need to learn to communicate. And he would say to me, I got a B+ in English. I said, you might have got a B+ in English, but you got an F in communicating. And listen to this. Several of the jobs that he applied for, they made him take a test. Every job, he failed the test. And you know what they told him? Failure to communicate properly. They told him exactly what he got a B+. Went to college, community, learned how to order sushi. And they want us to pay their loan. Let me see what it says about this gaslighting. I never knew these kind of things. I mean, I'm 39 years old. I'm in the ministry 45 years, and I never knew there was people like this. People who call themselves Christians who don't care about hurting other people, who got to manipulate and control. And who wants to live like that? Gaslighting distracts you from reality, distorts reality. You live in Gaga land. Oh, we're going to get married. We're going to get married. We're going to have a baby. We're going to get married. We're going to get married. We're going to have a beautiful wedding. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Someday. They make you feel confused. Confusion is not of God. It's of the devil. He is the author of confusion. They make you feel inadequate. Here was this young girl, sweet, young, polite, helpful girl, and he made her feel stupid. My wife used to get mad all the time. Why do you talk to her like that? Why do you put her down like that? And she gets to the point where you believe it, like he's so much better and so much smarter, and you need him. You don't need that. A lot of deceit, and there was, sarcasm, and there was, and it develops into what I just said, passive aggression. You know what I'm just thinking right now? I was not thinking the pastors. Who can help you? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You want information about the group that we're having about the narcissist, let me know. Follow me on Facebook. Follow my public figure pages. Share my videos. Support the ministry. If you want to know where we're ministering and when, and you want to attend those services, get on my email list, Pastor John Delicio at yahoo.com. We got a lot more to say. We're running out of time to say it because Jesus is coming soon. And we don't have time to mess with people who are nasty that don't want to change. Oh, it's okay if somebody's nasty. God can help you change. Well, they were born, Pastor John, he was born this way. It's not his fault. His mother, his father, his sister, his brother. Well, let me ask you a question. Is he born again? If you are born again, something should change. You'll know them by the fruit. Yes, I question whether people like that are really going to heaven. And if you're not careful, they'll try to get you to go where they're going. You don't want to go there. Or you're being mean. No, I'm obeying the Bible. What does Jesus say about this? Treat people nice. Treat people kind. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Be a blessing. And if they don't appreciate it, kick the dust off your heels and go on to the next. I'll save the rest for another time. I love you.